Hello everybody, welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ben and this is the 30-minute Tabata series. Today's session, or today's workout, is going to be a little bit slower. We're going to be focusing on mobility. So if you're feeling a little bit tight, the large portion of my client base, they work in an office. So opening them up, getting better posture is quite a big focus of our sessions. We're going to use the same approach as we have been. So it's going to be 3 rounds. Each round is 8 minutes and you'll get a 90-second rest between each round. There's going to be a timer up here the whole time, and depending on your skill level, the top one is for a beginner, the middle one is intermediate, and the bottom one is advanced. And then these are your times of work versus rest. So this is for a beginner, this is for intermediate, and this is for advanced. So we're going to be recording the advanced session today. 60-second work, no rest. It's all body weight. That's all you need. You don't need any equipment today. You can do this as a warm-up if you're going to do any weights. Just break it down and just do a few reps of each one, like let's say 10 of each, maybe. The whole purpose is really just to get you feeling a little bit more open, a bit more range of motion in your joints, and increase blood flow to the muscles. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to begin with walkouts. So all we're doing, straight legs, squeeze your bum, bend down, touch the floor, walk your hands out. You'll do a push-up and you'll walk your hands all the way back in, squeezing your bum as you stand up. If you cannot do a push-up, just drop to your knees, same thing, back up onto your toes, walk the hands back in, squeeze your bum as you stand up. If you find it too much to bend down and touch the floor, simply go wider with your feet and bend down and touch the floor that way. By going a little bit wider, just give yourself a little bit more range of motion to be able to do this exercise comfortably. If it's still too much, of course, bend your knees slightly and push your hips back. You should still feel that stretch in the hamstrings. Walk out, push up, walk back in. Our next one is a runner's lunge or lizard pose, where we bring the foot beside the hand, bend the arm, we're going to rotate down toward the floor and up toward the ceiling. And you're going to do this repeatedly, trying to get a little bit more range of motion each time, as if trying to get the elbow to touch the floor. Some of you may be flexible enough to be able to do that. Just from a side perspective, you'll be in this position here. You should be feeling a stretch down through the hamstring, and as you open up, squeezing your shoulder blades together, should feel like your upper back is opening up as well. We've got 5 seconds and we're back into the walkouts. Okay, back up onto our feet. We're going to go into those walkouts again. Bending down. Just take your time with each rep. There's no need to rush this one. The purpose is to feel which muscles are working so that you can tell where you're stiff or tight and what needs to be worked on. But I do this quite a lot as a warm-up with my clients in the gym. Back in the day when gyms were a thing that we went to. Okay, and then we're going back into that runner's lunge. So big stance, hands beside the feet, rotate down toward the floor, and open up on the opposite side. You may notice that you're more stiff on one side than the other, but that's completely normal as we are asymmetrical creatures. We don't walk via hopping, our hips rotate as we walk, so therefore we're going to be using one side more than the other depending on if we're left-handed, right-handed, left-footed, right-footed. You'll have a preference to which side you're more dominant on. Okay, everyone, back up onto your feet. We're going into those walkouts again. This round should feel a little bit easier now, given that we've just mobilized the hips and hamstrings. And it's important that you stand up fully between each rep, because what we're trying to do is use these glutes and hamstrings to help extend the hip to bring us into that standing position. And keep it going. Coming down, coming up. And then we're back into that first leg. And now this time, you should be able to get even lower to the floor. As you can see from me, I'm able to get that elbow to touch the floor now. But ensure you keep that back leg straight the whole time. So none of this. You want to try and really keep that as straight as possible. Into the walkouts with the push-up. Just take your time bending down, walk them out slowly. A nice push-up, keeping the core engaged, and walk the hands back in and stand up under control. And as you can probably tell, a lot of your other muscles are getting a working from this exercise alone. Things like your shoulders, your core, your arms, hamstrings, bum. So in a way, this is a full body movement. I'm already starting to sweat again. It doesn't take much for me. And that's not a sign of being unfit, I promise. That's more a sign of good water excretion, I guess. A good cooling system in the body. After all, for us to sweat, that's our natural cooling system. It's what allows us to outrun the animals. And that is a 90-second rest. So from that first round, you should start feeling a little bit more loose around the hip joint. Hamstring should be a little bit more flexible now, a little bit more open through the upper back. Join me for round 2, where we'll be going through squats and more hip mobility exercises. Okay, we're coming into those final 5 seconds and we're going to start off with a deep squat. So just go as low as you comfortably can. Fortunately for me, I can go all the way to the floor. From here, you're going to drop down, push the elbow into the knee, and you're going to rotate as far as you can. Come back to the middle, push the elbow into the knee, rotate as far as you possibly can. Here, squeeze your bum, stand up. If that's too much for you, just simply go to here, rotate, rotate, stand up. The main thing we're trying to focus on is holding that hip in place as we rotate. We're trying to open up through the shoulders and through the hip joint to create a little bit more range of motion in the two joints that have the most range of motion in the body. 10 seconds. And then we're going to go into a 90-90 position. Okay, join me on the floor. And what you want here is a leg out at 90 degrees from your body and another one at 90 degrees here. You're going to lean over this leg and you should feel a stretch in the bum cheek that's resting on the floor. Then you can either keep your hands off the floor, roll to the other side to maintain that same position and lean over the leg. If that's not available to you, you keep the hands on the floor as you roll and you lean into the stretch. And that's it. We're just going to do that side to side, trying to open up those hips again, stretch out the glutes that can get quite tight and lazy from sitting down for long periods, like most of us will be doing at the moment. But I am definitely guilty of that as I create this content for you. Okay, after this, we're back up on our feet, into that deep squat. We're rotating, and already that feels miles better than it did on the first set. Back down in. Oh, lovely. Nice open hips. This type of training is perfect for a warm-up because we're not holding a stretch, but what we're doing is we're training dynamically, meaning we're moving through a range of motion and we're increasing that range of motion as we perform reps and sets, but it's still able to be utilized in these deeper positions because we've been increasing the blood flow to the area. We're working the tissue as opposed to just holding it statically for time. Back on the floor in that 90-90. Lean over the leg. I mean, you don't even have to put your hands on the floor at all. You can just do this if you prefer. But I quite like having the hands on the floor as support. I feel I get a better stretch that way. And then I'm going to roll, lean over. And like I said, in the previous round, you may find that one side is tighter than the other And it can all be to do with things like the way you sleep, if you're a side sleeper versus a back sleeper versus a front sleeper, how you sit on the chair at work, at home, if you put more weight on one cheek than the other as you're sat down, or the way you stand. Particularly mothers, they tend to carry their child on one side, so their hip will be a bit tighter on one side. Okay, we're back into those deep squats. So by training unilaterally like we are, what you should find is you're weaning out any imbalances that may occur in your body from your day-to-day activity. And obviously doing this just one time isn't going to make a big difference to your life, but if you find a way to incorporate a workout like this into your weekly routine, 3 times a week, 2 a push, you're going to see some noticeable differences in the way you carry yourself. You might even alleviate things like lower back problems, because the saying is true that if you don't use it, you lose it, meaning your range of motion. If you're someone who's just sat at a desk all day and you're not opening up your body, using it to its full range of motion, it's kind of like a cog. It's just going to get rust on it over time, and eventually it's not going to work as good as it once did. I mean, if you look at kids, for example, and you see how flexible and mobile they are, granted their bodies aren't fully formed, but the fact of the matter is they've got great mobility, great range of motion, and it's only through life, like going to school, sitting down at the desk, playing video games. I used to do it loads as a teenager. They say sitting is the new smoking, and in a way it's kind of true, but through doing these sort of movement patterns, you're really going to help prevent the damage done from sitting down. And any other posture related issues you might suffer from. And when you look at a cashier as well at the supermarket, they're always moving in one direction, grabbing the shopping, and they're putting it from the right to the left. Generally, they're going to probably have issues with rotation to their left, just for the simple fact that they're always rotating to the right and not to the left, really. So, I mean, basically life just messes you up in the long run. And so that's why exercise is so important, to counteract these issues brought on from life, really. I don't know what you're thinking, but Ben, you look so mobile. It's not. I think I've got a little bit of hypermobility, which is another thing altogether, which is where your range of motion is too good that you need to strengthen the muscles close to those joints in order to keep that extra range of motion from causing any damage to your bones and joints, because you go beyond a range that is comfortable for you. Anyway, I've pretty much rambled through this session, but I hope it's provided you with entertainment. There's only a few more of these left in the series, by the way. Just so you know, there's going to be a total of 10 30-minute sessions, and then we're going to start doing a 15-minute session where you'll be able to design your own workouts based on 15-minute blocks. Final 3 seconds, and there we go. So now you get your 90-second rest. In the final set, we're going to be doing some stretches for the lower back and the hips, the upper back, and a little bit of a core exercise. So join me then for round 3. Welcome back. We got 5 seconds. We're going to do a child's pose. So knees apart, sitting back between your feet. Stretch out as far as you can. And now try and separate your knees while sliding your hands forward as if trying to get your chest to the floor. And then from here, you're just simply going to squeeze your bum and lengthen your spine as you draw your shoulder blades back and try and get your chin up to the ceiling. That's the upward facing dog. And all we're going to do is alternate between those two stretches, taking your time to really lengthen out and then come up the whole way as high as possible, and then just add a little bit more speed to it, trying to create something of a flow of movement. Okay, after this one, we're up on our feet. Now, you're going to have 1 foot facing out, 1 foot facing forward. Keeping the legs straight, arms nice and wide, and we're doing a windmill. So keep your eyes looking up to the hand at the top, and you're going to come back to the middle standing position. So as you slide your hands down, it stays in contact with your leg the whole time. You should feel a nice stretch coming through the hamstring of this leg and a stretch down the back here. At the same time, you should feel your core pulling as you stand back up. If you cannot get all the way down to the floor, not to worry. Just go as low as you comfortably can, but ensuring that you keep looking up at this hand closest to the ceiling and you keep that hand in contact with your leg. Okay, we're back into the child's pose. And breathe out as you come up. Take a deep breath in here, breathe out. Deep breath in, breathe out. But remember, each time squeezing the bum, lengthening the spine, coming back between those hips. Try and open up the hips more, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Okay, now we're back up on our feet and we're going on the opposite side. And again, you may feel a subtle difference between your range of motion on these two exercises, or on each side I should say of the same exercise. For me, this left hamstring feels a little bit tighter as I come down into this position, but that's completely normal. You can add load to this exercise as well. And you have 1 or 2 options. You can either have a weight in your top hand, like so, or you can have one in both hands, so you've got double the resistance. If either of those are too much, you could simply try having a weight in your bottom hand, so you're resisting, you're pulling a weight on the way up, rather than pushing. So technically there's 3 options. Okay, back down on the floor. And this is just a great workout if I do say so myself. If you're feeling just a little bit stressed, or if you're feeling a little bit fatigued from training quite a lot and you just want a way to still work up a sweat without the intensity being so high, because what this is going to do is still give you a little bit of an endorphin rush or an endorphin release, but at the same time it's going to de-stress your body. We're decompressing the spine, we're putting some length back into the muscles that would otherwise be shortened from day-to-day stress and training stress. And again, foot facing out on the side you're leaning down to. And I would say, breathing wise, breathe in here and then breathe out on the effort on the way back up. And really try and twist as you push your hips back here, keeping those legs straight as possible. This is a really good one for the core and shoulder stability, flexibility. Okay, we go back to the floor now. It's that child's pose. One last time. Deep breath in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And as always, try to practice diaphragm breathing. So you're breathing into the stomach every time and you're breathing out from the stomach every time. One last time on our feet, foot facing away in the direction we're bending to, trying to get as low as you can. Try and stretch a little bit more each time. Feel a little bit tight, to be honest, from the leg workout yesterday. I hope you guys enjoyed that one too, but that was a killer. Final 5 seconds. Try and get one more. And we're done. That is it. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you have completed another 30-minute Tabata session. I hope you feel a little bit more relaxed, a bit more open, maybe you worked up a little bit of a sweat like me. As always, if you haven't already, there's a button here for you to subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Let's get this revolution started. We're at 35 people. Let's see if we can get to 100, shall we? Oh, imagine that. I digress. If you keep doing these workouts, you will see some difference in your body. They're aimed to be short and sweet, but 30 minutes of something is a whole lot better than 0 minutes of nothing. So keep at them, but I have made some videos here addressing sleep and nutrition, because if you're serious about your results, they are going to be what you need to have in place in order to get there. That's it for today's workout. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to like the video and leave a comment below to let me know how you got on. Tell a friend, see if you can get them to do it as well. But I will see you here, right here, next time as we do another full body workout. Thanks guys.